Hello. How is everybody today? I'm a few minutes late, I think. I hope you're doing well. If you can hear me, just let me have a comment or two if I'm on. Hello, it's good to see you. Live from Central Florida. It's Saturday morning. Hello and welcome, everybody.
Message from the dark side there is.
Of course, I'm getting a message on my phone. Hello, Colleen. How are you? I'm running a few minutes late, and now because I've been running around trying to get myself ready, I'm sweating now, but we'll just go with it. I might even put my hair back. I usually don't on a video, but I'm gonna sweat to death otherwise if I don't. There, I'll leave that like that for now. Maybe not. It's great to hear from you. Good to see you. Hello, Mandy. Hi. Sorry I'm running a few minutes late. It's already been a crazy morning. I had to take my daughter and a couple of color guard girls to meet the other color guard at breakfast, and then they've got practice and then a competition tonight. So on my way back then, well, first I had to go to Walmart for her to get her some new shoes for the competition, and coming in, carrying stuff in, I left the door open for just a minute too long, and the dog got out, so I had to go hunt for the dog. Found him, got back, and now I've just been running around like crazy, trying to get myself. Oh, this is not gonna work with my hair. Okay, I'll just leave it down. Can you guys see me okay? I was yesterday when I did my little test show, I was trying to figure out what would be better. I had wanted to do the camera sideways, and it made me sideways. So I think this is the only way I can do it. I'll have to try to figure out. Okay, good. Hi, how you doing? Knit and crochet with Gilmore Girl. Oh, that's right. I've seen your comments. Thank you for stopping by. What can I call you? Do you have a first name that you're willing to divulge on the internet, or it could just be a fake name, so I know what to call you? I'm going to turn my computer on too so that I can try to read the comments from the computer rather than squint to see them on the phone. Sorry, my computer's making noise. Let me turn the volume down. This is my first live show officially. I did do a little test last night. A couple of you were there and let me know that it was working. So we'll give a couple minutes for everybody to get here before we actually start with the book. What I'd like to do today is mainly chat about the Cherry Cola Book Club, but I also announced several other read-alongs for the month of September. So we'll we'll go through each one, and if anybody's on here who read any of those books or you want to read those books, then we'll just, mention those briefly and go from there. So let me get my computer pulled up. How is everyone doing this morning? Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Trying to get to where I could actually see my own live stream from the computer, and then I can see the comments. Your name is Cheryl. Nice to meet you, Cheryl. And you are, well, now the comments went away. That's you, Knit and Crochet with the Gilmore Girl. I am assuming you're a Gilmore Girls fan. I know there's a fun challenge, a reading challenge associated with Gilmore Girls, where the whole list of like 300 and something books that Rory read or was reading in all the episodes of Gilmore Girls, and some people have made that their goal to read all those books. I've read a few of them. I looked at the list, and I don't know that I want to read all of those, but maybe some. It's kind of looks like a fun challenge. I remember when Gilmore Girls was on, when it was on primetime, and I watched it a little bit, but then I started watching it with my daughter Katie. She's 14 now, and she was probably late 12, early 13, and we started watching it. And then, because I was busy and not taking time to watch it very much with her, she just finished watching the whole series without me. And I was like, I thought that was going to be our thing. And she's like, well, you're taking too long. So, anyway. Oh, I think I see what I'm doing wrong. I'm going to my studio webpage for YouTube, and I need to go to just my channel page. Oh, goodness. Sorry, I'm taking forever. Let me just start over and load YouTube. So how many people are here? I'm trying to see if it says. It looks like 4 people are here so far, and I'm excited. I'm excited that you guys are here. I wasn't sure, if there'd be anybody, and even my sister can't make it until a little later. She helped me out yesterday with the test show, and today she is outside working. Her and her husband have a working farm and ranch, and they're also renovating her mother-in-law's home. Her mother-in-law passed away last year or year before, and so they've been renovating that house, and then they're going to move over into it. It's on the same property. And so, here we go. All right. Now I'll be able to see your comments better, I think. That house, and then they're going to... Oh, I'll have to turn the sound down because now I can hear myself talking. Okay, and that would mess up. So, all right, so let's see who's here. Colleen is here, Mandy, and Lava King. Oh, the kid from from DJA. I don't know if I'm allowed. I don't know if I should say the whole name of the school, but hey there, it's good to see you. He says the one that says I'm the kid from DJA. That's a school where I subbed at a couple of times this year, and I told him I would give him a shout out. So hey, shout out to you guys, and y'all are awesome. And I had told your teacher I'd be happy to sub anytime for you guys. And so let's see. Oh, your last name is Gilmore. Oh, okay. So you're the original Gilmore Girl. Okay. Well, that makes total sense. Isn't that funny how our minds go straight to pop culture rather than that's your actual name? So anyway, my daughter Emily just walked in, and so if you hear her talking, and I'll let her say hi, although her hair is not washed. This is Emily. Say hi. You want to wave? Look, there you are. She had a EEG, a 72-hour turned into an 87-hour EEG week before last, and then went from there to getting home and having a big seizure, fell backwards, hit her head, and had staples in her head, so I could never scrub her head really good. I can't believe I'm saying this on the internet, but anyway, I couldn't, because she had staples in her head, I couldn't finish washing all the EEG glue out, so we just got the staples out a couple days ago, and now it's Saturday, so that's my job today, is to give her head a good scrubbing and get all that EEG glue out of it, because they stick like 22 or 23 electrodes to your head. So anyway, okay, so your last name is Gilmore. Now let me see, I missed your first name. What did you tell me your first name was? Cheryl. Okay, so knit and crochet with a Gilmore Girl is Cheryl, and just try to see who all is here. Oh, and my sister is here. My Charla, that's my sister. So she may be calling me. I told her I was going to bring my phone in here so that if she wanted to call me, she read the book too, or at least she read Cherry Cola Book Club. So I know a lot of live shows will have 2 hosts, and they kind of go back and forth, and it's kind of good when there's 2 people who can actually talk to each other, and then people comment. And so yesterday when she helped me out with the live show, or with the test, that was really neat that that she was able to talk back and forth, and I said, oh, if you have time to do that today, that would be really good. So man, I look really fat on usually you can see me to here, so I'm not a fan of being able to see my whole self, but anyway, I can't diet in the next 5 minutes. So all right, are y'all ready to start chatting about the Cherry Cola Book Club? So, of you guys who are on here, I'm assuming that that my student from DJ MS, right? Or is it DJA? You said DJA, so it isn't an academy now. Anyway, I'm assuming you didn't read this book, so if you don't want to hang around, then that's fine. But the rest of you, if you read Cherry Cola Book Club, I had intended to pull up, and I still will right now while I've got my computer here. I was going to see if there were any actual discussion questions. Oh, there actually are some in the back of the book, so that's good. I had a few ideas of my own that I wanted to chat about, and then, of course, on our Goodreads group, which is Lizziefaye's Comfy Corner, if you don't know, which I'm hopefully you do, there were some different topics that were brought up, So this book, I did have at least 2 people on the Goodreads group that said I probably won't continue to read the series, but I wanted to hope that you would at least maybe read one more. And I've got the second book over here in just a second. I have not started it yet because I wanted to talk about this one first and not get the 2 mixed up. But the second book is The Reading Circle. And The Reading Circle and all of the rest of the series has a much higher rating than this book. You know, this book has so much potential. You look at it and it's just cute. You read the premise and you think, oh, that's going to be awesome. And I love the cover. And I don't know if y'all have noticed this. Just did a little note about the cover. But, you know, if you just look at the blue here, it kind of looks like the top of maybe like a drapery or something. But if you focus on the colored part here, the colorful part, and look at the top, it looks like an open book. Did you guys ever notice that? I thought that was kind of cool. So anyway, of course we've got the cherry cola on the cover and all of that. The name, of course, comes from the fact that it's set in Cherico, Mississippi, which I think is a fictitious town. And so they got the name Cherry Book Club from that. Now, that brings me to kind of my first point. And one of the points that I said and mentioned on the Goodreads group, and a couple of you mentioned that you didn't think the main character, Mara Beth, was a very likable character. And I liked her okay, but I thought she was not very creative. Her character just kept taking ideas from everybody else, which is fine in a way because it's good to be able to take ideas from other people. If you're going to be a true leader, you need to be able to, you know, pull a team together and not just dictate everything. But I felt like she never came up with her own ideas. And then there was a part near the end where they're like, oh, she did actually have one idea that was her own. And someone said, oh, how do you come up with all these great ideas? And she's like, oh, I'm just extracurricular minded. And I thought, no, that was your first real idea. That was your own. How dare you take credit for all these other ideas that you just took from other people? You know, that was kind of my thought process with that. So anyway, I don't know if the rest of you thought that or not. I need to catch up with comments and see. Oh, someone said hi to you, Emily. She's sitting over here now, and she's put her helmet back on. She's due for a seizure. I mean, I hope she doesn't have one. We just upped her medication a little bit, and she hasn't had a seizure since early Thursday morning, and it's already Saturday. But I know her, and I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope that that this will be the one thing that works. So I told her I wanted her to stay close. We're here in our home office, and there's a desk over here with a desk chair that's comfortable. So I brought her in a puzzle and some crayons and coloring book, and she's looking at a comic book, and I think she'll be fine right here if I can just keep her in my sight. Of course, if she has a seizure and I need to go ahead and end this abruptly, I apologize. But, if she has a seizure, I'm going to probably need to go. Unless it's just a little mild thing that she comes right out of. Okay. So Cheryl has not read the book. She said she hopes she can soon. Are you going to mind if we spoil it for you? To me, though, this particular book, I think, is fairly predictable. It's about a librarian and the town council, and I guess there's only 3 people on the town council because it's a small town. So they have called her in and told her that she's got 5 months. Otherwise, they're going to take the funding away from the library and put it to really kind of one of their pet projects, something they would rather put the money on. They say that the library is not... that hardly anyone's using it. It's not being utilized. It's underutilized would be the term, and they think the funds would be better used elsewhere. So, but they say, we'll give you 5 months to see if you can make something of the library. So that's how the Cherry Cola Book Club is formed. Now there is already a genealogy club that's meeting there in the library, and there is some circulation, but she's been there 6 years, and to me, this goes back to her having ideas. I think if I had been there 6 years already, I would have already been trying to make the library more viable and more utilized. It doesn't really say if she's tried anything else. It kind of just seems like she's just been kind of coasting along and not really doing anything to encourage library use in the first place. So, I don't know. It goes back to to her and just kind of being pushed along by other people. She didn't really have the idea to make the library better until she was forced to. And, that maybe is one of the things that made people not like her. Oh, Christelle, you're here. Hi, Christelle. I've been meaning all week to email you. Christelle just sent me a package, and I did yesterday or day before. I made a video opening the package and all of that. I just haven't posted it yet. So I meant to email you and let you know that I got it. And thank you so much. It's a lovely package. Oh my goodness, you guys. You have to watch for this. There'll be a video coming probably, since I'm doing this one today, I probably won't upload the unboxing for that until tomorrow. But it's precious. Oh my goodness. There's so many wonderful things in the package, and it's really sweet. So thank you, Christelle. I'm glad that you got to come by today. So, all right. So, Christelle says, I thought Maribeth's personality was not well developed in the book. Everyone overshadowed her. Yeah, and I got that too. I felt like her character as a person didn't really have. There wasn't much to her. She could have. I don't know. She could have been a bigger character. She could have had more of her own ideas and been a little more colorful, I guess. She just kind of went along, and every time something was brought up to her, she goes, oh yeah, I'll run that by so-and-so. Well, I mean, that's nice and all, but you could just make a decision and say, oh, that's a great idea, we're doing that. Instead of thinking you have to run by everything. I think she wasn't really self-confident in her own right, and she could have been more self-confident. So thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl says she doesn't mind if we spoil. Well, what I was going to say is I think this first book is fairly predictable. Now, I can't even imagine what's going to happen in the rest of the series, but in this first book, as soon as you know the premise, a librarian's been given 5 months to get the library in a better condition, you kind of figure, okay, that's probably going to happen. I doubt they're going to close the library since there's 5 more books. So, that in and of itself is fairly predictable. You can think, okay, that's going to happen. So what you don't expect necessarily is how it's going to go. So within the book club itself, I thought that that they had some pretty good ideas for the actual book club. Now, the Gone with the Wind idea, where they ask everybody if you were a Scarlet or a Melanie, I thought I would throw that out to you guys. Did you think about that when you were reading it? Did you try to... Now, first of all, I guess I should ask if you've read Gone with the Wind. If you haven't, you should. It's an excellent book. So if you've read Gone with the Wind, do you think you are a Scarlet or a Melanie? And yes, my sister says that she was a Melanie trying to become a Scarlet. Yes, she definitely was not a Scarlet. She was a Melanie for sure. And so let's see. I'm going to catch up with the comments. So Mandy hasn't read it either, but she looks forward to it. So let me just tell you guys that haven't read it, this book is rated like a 2.9 average rating on Goodreads. It does have some issues that, you're reading it and you think, oh, this could be better, or, I can't believe they said this or that or whatever. And it could be better. So I'm really hoping that the rest of the series is better. All of the rest of the books are rated over 3 point something. So I think that it probably does improve. However, it could just mean that the people who only read this one, because the rest of the books have fewer ratings, so maybe the people who didn't like this one didn't go ahead and read the other books, and so therefore they're not rated by the people who rated this one low, and the people who did like it kept reading and rated the rest of the series higher. That's a possibility. But I'm still excited. I think the series has a lot of potential. I'm trying to remember who told me about this series from the very beginning. It might have been Catherine Stevens, who is one of my subscribers. I don't know if she's watched anything lately because I haven't, she hasn't commented to a video lately. But she might have been the person who first told me about this book. Okay, so let's see. Some people didn't like that they put up movie posters. Yes, Melinda from Two Boys Scrappin'. Is that the right channel name? Two Boys Scrappin'. She didn't like the fact that there were movie posters. But Colleen says it didn't bother her, and watching the movies makes some people want to read the book. Yes, that's very true. The movie posters didn't bother me because, I mean, really, what else are you gonna do? Well, Melinda had the idea to just maybe you could run off, make copies of book covers because goodness knows there's a million different editions of Gone with the Wind. So you could print out different posters from the internet of all the different book covers from Gone with the Wind. That would be kind of a nice idea. And I think for me, it didn't bother me because I lead a mystery book club at our public library, and we don't decorate. I mean, it meets right in the middle of the library, and it's right in the middle of the day, so we don't decorate. What I have started doing, though, that even our main we have a book club that meets at our library that's hosted by one of the staff members, and that's been going on for like 4 or 5 years. Then just this year, they asked me to take over a mystery book club, which had just started a few months before. One of the staff members was trying to run it, but he wasn't having time and not really wanting to read a variety of mystery books. He knew what he liked, and he wanted to read what he liked. He didn't want to read anything cozy. He didn't want to read anything, that he hadn't already read. And so they were like, okay, Elizabeth, will you just take this over? Will you do this book club? So I do. So one of the things that I started doing is bringing snacks. And so I try to theme my snacks to something that has to do with the book. Stay right there or go through there. Sorry, if you see me talking, it's Emily. You can go sit in Mommy's room or you can stay right here. So like last month we read Her Royal Spyness, which is British. And so I brought scones, and then at the library they have a pretty good selection of tea that they keep back in the staff room. And the leader of the other book club was there, and they keep some teacups and things like that for some other events that they do. So she scurried around and made tea. She made hot water and brought out the tea with the actual teacups, real teacups and saucers. With my pinky out, and I brought scones and a couple other little snacks, and so that was our snack, which went very well with Her Royal Spyness. So I try to do that, and when we read Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie, I brought custard pie. So especially if there's an obvious snack, and if there's not an obvious thing to eat, then I bring something. So that's what I do to try to personalize our book club. I think it would be hard to decorate, but since they were having theirs at night and it was a special event that, the library was only open for that event, I think it's a neat idea to decorate, but the movie posters didn't really bother me. I thought it was fine, but I can understand why, it's a book club, so you don't really want to focus on the movie, you want to focus on the book, but it's another aspect of it, so... let's see. Oh, you love it, and you love scones. I have not eaten that many scones. I ate some at a wedding once that were so dry, and I thought, oh, is this what scones are? But I got these at Publix, and they were actually pretty good. So, I don't know. You're not supposed to dip them in your tea, are you? Are you supposed to dip them or just eat them like a cookie or a biscuit? I don't know. Okay, so none of you have answered if you think you are a Scarlett or a Melanie. I would like to know. I would like for you to comment on here if you think you are a Scarlett or a Melanie, because I think that would be I would be interested. I think, and my sister might disagree with me. I think I'm really more of a Melanie, or at least I aspire to be. I try to always find the good in people. Why is that getting me emotional? I really do. I don't know. I try to find the good in people, and I try not to be too critical. And I absolutely would not plow over anyone to get what I want, except maybe my husband. I think I do that sometimes with my husband. And I thought it was horrible what Scarlett did, stealing her sister's fiance and stuff like that. She was doing what she had to do, what she thought she had to do to get by. Now, whether she actually had to do that or not, that's, up for debate. But anyway, I think Gone with the Wind would be a really interesting book to read for a book club and to debate about it. In fact, it's so long, I hesitate to suggest it to my own book club, my local book club, but I think I am, because always we read a classic, and even if we, took 2 months to read it, I think that would be fun to do. So, all right, let's see what people are saying. I need to refresh my... All right. All right, so my sister says she's a mix, and I think I am too. When I was in college, I did I attended a seminar that was taught by the head of our she was our college Sunday school director, and her and her husband were both doctors, like doctorate people. I don't think she taught at our university, but he did. He was like the head of the science department or something. I mean, they're both super smart. But anyway, she had done a study on something called bipolar, and it doesn't have anything to do with bipolar disorder. It's a study that shows that your personality, it's a personality study where you lead with one or the other, and within those two things, you lead with one or the other within those two things. So you lead with either a risking strength or a thinking strength, and mine was thinking strength. But within the thinking, you lead with practical thinking or theoretical thinking, or within the risking, you lead with, I guess, I can't even remember now. It's been so long. Anyway, she had gone through this whole thing and done a big study of this, and she had analyzed each combination and had plugged in a Peanuts character to go with each one. And so the one I came out to be was Lucy. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. So I think Lucy is really more of a Scarlet, but maybe it's just that as I've gotten older and more mature, I have mellowed a little bit. Because maybe there was a time when I was a little more like Scarlet, but I think I'm a little more of a Melanie now. Oh, I see that I am buffering. Well, shoot. I hope you can see me. So Christelle says that she's mostly a Melanie, but a mix. I think we all would agree that we'd rather be a Melanie, maybe. And you could be a Scarlet without saying that you would do some of the things that Scarlet would do. But I think basically her personality is that she's a go-getter. She's not going to sit and wait for things to happen. She's going to make things happen. She's a go-getter. She knows what she needs, and she's going to go for it. So anyway, we're really having more of a Gone with the Wind discussion than Cherry Cola Book Club. But that was a big deal in the book, so that's why we're talking about it. So, all right. So now, then I thought it was interesting that one of the men spoke up and says, well, you didn't ask me if I was a Rhett or an Ashley. Well, I think he wouldn't have to be a Rhett or an Ashley just because he's a man. He could still say if he was a Scarlet or a Melanie, he could still be one or the other of those personalities without being actual female. Don't y'all think? I didn't think it was necessary for him to say, oh, well, you didn't ask me if I was a Scarlet, or a Rhett or an Ashley. It's okay to do that, but I didn't think it was necessary. I think the men could, jump up and say, whether they were Scarlet or Melanie as well. And at the book club, did y'all notice, even when there's like 6 people there, she talks about, she says, standing at the podium. And I thought, why is she standing at a podium when there's 6 people? Just sit around a table or sit in a circle or something. You don't need to stand at a podium. Now, for the big book club at the end, when there was a lot of people, that I can understand. But I thought, why would there be a podium when there's 6 people? It didn't make sense to me. We should read Gone with the Wind. I never read that one either. Well, we could do that. I've read it before. I've actually read the first half twice. And then, because I read the first half and I had it on audio cassette. So I got the audio cassette from the library. It was just part 1. But I thought, oh, wow, this is serendipitous because I had bought a package of cassettes of Gone with the Wind from a library book sale, and I got it home and it was part 2. Well, the library at the time only had part 1. Something had happened in part 2, and I thought, well, I've got part 2 right here. But it was ruined. Wherever they had stored it in the library, I don't know, it was just garbled, and I could not listen to it. I finally had to just pitch it. So I had never listened to the whole thing, and this was back before BookTube, before I was on BookTube or anything, or had learned about it. So eventually, finally, I decided I needed to revisit Gone with the Wind again last year, and I looked, and our library had it all on CD, the whole thing. So I checked it out again, and actually, I say that. Did I listen to the whole thing again? I think I listened to some of it, but maybe I didn't go back and listen to all of it again. I think I started it over, and I kind of just sort of got my feet wet again, and then I ended up skipping to where I was in the book. So Actually, I guess I haven't listened to the first part twice. So, yeah, I would be up for reading it again. I mean, we could do it as a read-along next year, maybe, and stretch it out over a few months. If y'all want to do it here on Lizzie Faye's Comfy Corner. I wouldn't call it a comfy book, really. I mean, it deals with a lot of stuff, and it's harsh, but so compelling. And Scarlett O'Hara is just a fantastic literary character. You can love her without condoning anything that she does, because she does some stuff. Oh my goodness. She really just does some stuff. Emily's come back in the room. So yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I would listen to it again on audio. It was my mom's favorite book, and I would love to do that. So, and I see Cheryl says she's read it before, but she would love to. Oh, hi, Amber. It's nice to see you. You couldn't find the Cherry Cola books? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you could ask them to order it. They're hard to find in a used situation. I think maybe 1 or 2 people told me that they were able to find them, maybe online somewhere, but most of the time, at least in my county, I've seen them here. But I mean, that's where I got mine. But I don't think I've ever seen one used. Maybe one time fairly recently, but I didn't go ahead and buy it because I thought, well, you know, I could just get it from the library. And now that I read it twice again, I listened to it on audio last year, and then I read the entire book in print this past month, and listened to it entirely again on audio again. So 3 times is probably enough. I can move on with the rest of the series. So anyway. All right, so yeah, we'll talk about doing Gone with the Wind later. I see that I'm buffering again. Can you guys hear me or see me? I'm sorry. Hopefully it'll come back on. Well, shoot. If anybody is seeing me right now, comment that you can see me, and that because on my end I'm buffering. So okay, good, I'm fine. Okay, great. So drove to another town library to get it, and the next Cherry Cola book. Okay, so Christelle said she had to go to another town to get it. And you know what you can do, Amber, is see if your library will order it interlibrary loan, because we actually do that for our book club too. I have access to all the libraries in my county, and there's quite a few towns in my county that have a library. But when you're talking book club and you've got, you know, you need 7 or 8 or more copies of the same book all at once, you know, you might not be able to get that many all in your county. So we have started within our book clubs having the person at our library that's in charge of interlibrary loans. You know, I give them enough warning in advance when I'm going to need it, and then he will scout out, you know, 7 or 8 copies all over the state or wherever he gets them, and he'll then have them for us so that we can get them. So try that. There should be somebody at your local library that can order interlibrary loan for you, and sometimes you can do it online. I know at our library we can do it online, but the guy at my main library that I go to said sometimes it doesn't come out right. He said, just tell me what you need. Write it down. Tell me what you need, and I'll order it. So anyway, just check with your library, and maybe you can get it. This is not a hard book to read. If you do have access to Hoopla, Amber, because the first book is on Hoopla, and the audio book, so you might be able to get it through that. All right, so let me see what other comments. You only have one library system. You looked it up on the system's website. But ask your librarian if they can order it interlibrary loan. That would mean that they could check with other libraries in your area, and or anywhere in your state, and they could order it for you. Just a second. Sorry about that. Excuse me. I don't like coughing on camera. I don't even like drinking water on camera, but for some reason I got a little tickle in my throat. All right, so let me look at the discussion questions here. Well, first I had written a couple of notes. Oh, there were a couple of little isms, little sayings that I wondered about because they were not what I'm used to saying. Now, I grew up in Oklahoma, which is technically not the South, but it's still Southern, you know, in a sense. I think a lot of people who came from the South after the Civil War, you know, went west and settled in Oklahoma and Texas. I know my grandmother, her family came to Texas, and then she eventually moved to Oklahoma to get I think she, well, her family then moved to Oklahoma, and where she became a teacher and met my grandfather, who was descended from Native American. So, you know, people ended up in Oklahoma from other places, and some of them from the South. So I have always heard the term chomping at the bit. And in this book, it was champing at the bit. Is that correct? Have I just been saying it wrong? I mean, maybe it's just in my region that we say chomping at the bit. And I don't even know if that's probably not anything that's even in the dictionary. But I know we always said chomping at the bit. And then another thing that was in the book was, and it was several times, they used the phrase, make her manners, or made his manners, as if he was being polite and introducing himself before going on to do something else. Then that was kind of how it was used in context. You know, he made his manners and then went on. I've never heard that before, to make your manners. Have any of you heard that phrase? I don't know. I would have just said, you know, he introduced himself politely and then went on his way. You know, so, and I think the councilman was one of the ones that said that, you know, I just came to make my manners, and I don't know. Have y'all heard that? Let me catch up with, oh, there's my phone. That might be my sister. Let's see. No, it is, oh, it's work calling. Great. I'll call them back. It'll go to voicemail. Oh, no, wait. No, that is not work calling. That is my sister. Okay, hang on. Hello? Hey. Well, that's what I thought, too. Okay, hang on. Let me put you on speakerphone so we can do it. All right, so this is my sister. I don't know. I looked at the number wrong, and I thought it was work calling, but it's actually my sister. I'm going to put her on speakerphone so she can be a part of it. So she says it is chomping.
Chomping at the bit, like a horse.
Yeah.
With a bit in his mouth, is chomping at it, you know.
Right.
To get out of his mouth. I've seen him do it when Daddy had horses, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so,
I'm going to hang up and go back to, I can't.
Oh, you can't stay? Oh, okay.
I'm over here working, cleaning the floor, so I'm going to hang up and go back and watch the video.
Okay. Well, I thought she was going to be a part of things, but anyway, she's got to go. So she says chomping at the bit. Well, see, and I knew that that's what we always said, because, I mean, we're in the same family, so that's what we always said. But have any of the rest of you ever heard it as champing at the bit? I don't know. I always thought chomping as in chomp, 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 you know, so, and like she said. Okay, so let's see who else is commenting. Okay, so Amber, that's how you've always heard the saying and never heard the manners one. So you've heard it like I said, or you've heard make your manners? Just to clarify. Haven't heard it either. Okay. Colloquialism. Thank you, Christelle. That's what I was trying to say. I knew there was a word for that. Scarlett is the kind of woman you love to hate. I'm going backwards up the comments. I agree, Cheryl. Scarlett is the kind of woman you love to hate. She's just got so much to her personality. You know, she's got so much depth of character, and she's just a great character to talk about and to read about. You were glad to see the book club chose classics. Wait, I need to go back and read down. So Melanie and Scarlett. So I think Melanie and Scarlett are the same personalities as Ashley and Rhett. Oh, you do? Oh, well, you know, and that's kind of true. Melanie and Ashley were, you know, two of a kind, and Scarlett and Rhett were definitely two of a kind, which I think is why they had such a, what's the word? Their relationship was just so stormy, you know, because that's the kind of people they were. We only have one. Okay, I read that. Enjoyed the sequel as well, called Scarlet. Yes, I have not read Scarlet. I had a copy of it that someone gave me, and I don't know if I still have it or not. But I saw that it's on Audible, so at some point I'm going to read that too. So you liked it. I know it's by a different author. Was it sanctioned by the Margaret Mitchell? Is it Margaret Mitchell? Was she the author? Yeah. Was it sanctioned by her estate at all? Or not? I don't know. Oh, don't worry about the tag, Amber. Just whenever you feel like it. I get so behind on tags sometimes. So Colleen, you said you were glad to see the book club chose classics. Oh yes, in this book club. So yes, and I think really that's he kind of had to do that because I think that was a good choice for this book, because he needed to have them talk about books that a lot of people would be familiar with. He couldn't really do a brand new book because, you know, not that big of the population who might be reading this would have read it. So I think that was a good choice to go with classic books, you know, as far as Gone with the Wind and what was the other one? To Kill a Mockingbird. So now I guess we can move on to Kill a Mockingbird. Have you guys read that? Is that all of y'all who are watching? Is there anybody that hasn't read To Kill a Mockingbird? I didn't read it as a kid. I didn't have to read it for school, but I read it, I listened to it on audio as an adult. I remember my parents having a copy, and I got their copy, but then I think it got really ruined in the shuffling from their house to here, and I think I ended up having to throw it away. But yeah, it was a movie tie-in cover. It had Gregory Peck on the front. My mother liked Gregory Peck, and I think that's probably why she liked the movie and you know got the book with that cover. Just to look at some of the discussion questions in the back of this book, it says, discuss the female character who fascinates you the most and give pros and cons of her personality. So a lot of you in the Goodreads group mentioned Miss Von Seal. So what did you think of Miss Von Seal? She was quite a character. You know, did you... I have kind of mixed feelings about her going into the relationship with, oh, that's Emily talking, with Mr. Linwood. Now, his name I think is Locke Linwood, but to me, his name should be reversed. It should be Linwood Locke. I don't know. Or maybe it is Linwood Locke, and I kept thinking it ought to be Locke Linwood. I don't know. I kept wanting to think it ought to be backwards in the way it is. You know, I think it's kind of good now that I'm older. I like seeing people who are older start relationships. I don't know that they really had to do the whole staying overnight thing. That could have been left out. You know, I don't really need to conjure up that picture in my head. But as far as just, you know, the companionship and starting a romance, you know, between two older characters, I think is good. But what did y'all think about Miss Von Seal or about Mr. Is it Locke Linwood? I'm going to have to find that out because now it's going to bother me if it's Locke Linwood or Linwood Locke. I'll just call him Mr. Linwood.
I need Peter.
Okay. All right, why don't you sit right there and color until I'm done. All right, so Miss Von Seal, she definitely was a fun character. Now, when I went back and read this the second time, I noticed, because, you know, at the very beginning, she's in that genealogy meeting, and just to spice things up, she makes a statement, kind of disparages the family or the father of the other two ladies who are there at the meeting, and she admits later that it wasn't true. She just wanted to kind of, you know, spice things up a little bit. That kind of bothered me a little bit. I saw what he was trying to do there because we're not really supposed to like the other two ladies, you know, or at least one of them. She's kind of outspoken, overbearing, and sort of rubs things in other people's faces. So Miss Von Seal, I think, kind of did that just to jab at her a little bit. You know, this I guess goes back to me being a Melanie. I didn't think she really ought to do that, but it was just kind of a, you know, it was an interesting little thing to do, I suppose, for the book, just to add a little bit of spice into the book. But I was starting to worry that she was never going to apologize. I mean, I thought, goodness, she does need to go back and apologize. And I think somewhere towards the second half of the book, she did finally go back and apologize. And then, you know, they had the bridge game where she sort of let her win, and, you know, it was all good from there. But I still feel like I am buffering. Hopefully it's just my computer and you guys are able to see me okay. Okay, Mandy says, she says chomping at the bit. I read that. Let's see. Mind your manners. Yeah, so my sister says mind your manners, not make your manners. But it's kind of two different things, though. To mind your manners means just to be polite in general. And I think they were saying in here, to make your manners was to do an outward thing like go up to someone and introduce yourself, or say something polite, or introduce somebody to someone else, or something like that. It was an act of doing something as opposed to just sitting demurely and being polite. So I don't know. It must be a thing, or it wouldn't be in there. And maybe it's a Mississippi thing. I don't know. None of y'all are from Mississippi, are you? I think we have at least one from Georgia, and then so I'm hoping some of y'all that are Southern can tell me. So Mandy said she read it in high school, didn't care for it. Okay. Oh, so bye, Cheryl. Cheryl has to go. It was fun. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. So Christelle says she didn't read it, but the first drive-in movie she went to was To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, thank you, Christelle. Loch Linwood. So I don't know. I keep wanting. Maybe it's because in high school I knew a family. Well, a girl in my class. Her last name was Locke. So to me, that's a last name instead of a first name. And in my head, that's what I hear. So she kept the One Love for a long time. Yes, she did. She did. And to have all those plants there in her house and everything. So it was good that she moved on, that she was able to go on then and sort of let that go. I mean, she still loved her first love, but, you know, she did wait a long time. Won't it be something if farther down in the books he shows up? Oh, my goodness, I can almost see that happening. I'll be like, oh no. You know, just about the time she finally decides to marry Mr. Linwood, then, you know, her old love will show up with, you know, having had memory loss for 40 years or whatever. It would be kind of interesting. So I don't know. We'll see. It might happen. Let's see. So Voncio, so Crystal says Voncio was more likable character. I agree with you about the bit. Yeah. I know. And I think you and I see eye to eye on a lot of those things. Anyway, so did we ever answer this first question? I just brought up Von Seal. And so there were some other female characters. I can't even think of their names now, but there was the diner owner. She was a really good character, I thought. I enjoyed her. Twinkle. That was the name of her cafe. Periwinkle. Was that her name? Periwinkle? She was good. And then there were the two other women who were part of the book club. The one who had given her the idea for the book club and had brought it from another place. You know, I thought those were all good characters. Okay, then discuss the male character who fascinates you the most. Give the pros and cons of his personality. I don't know if the author of this book, Mr. Lee, will ever watch this, and I hope he won't be offended by me saying this, but I felt like that, I just pictured this, that Councilman Sparks, I sort of felt like he was the author of this book. You know, I sort of felt like the author of this book was something like Councilman Sparks, but not in a bad way. I mean, he described Councilman Sparks as being, you know, very attractive and very charismatic and all of that. But, you know, he still had his moments where, you know, it's like, good grief, I can't believe he said that. So, I don't know. I have just conversed with the author very briefly on Facebook, and at some point I will invite him to maybe come on and do a Q&A. I thought it might be good for us to get 2 or 3 books under our belt first, and then we'll know what to ask him. But anyway, I sort of felt like this book maybe would have been better. This is going to sound really sexist, and I don't mean it that way, but you could tell it was written by a man, and I felt like it would be better maybe if it had been written by a woman. But obviously, the author, I'm pretty sure he is a real guy, and he thought of the idea, so of course he has every right to write a book of his own ideas. So I feel bad saying that, but you can kind of tell that it's written by a man, and there's a few parts here and there that I think would have been better if it had a little more female insight. Maybe. I know. I said it out loud. I'm sorry. But I felt like that when I pictured Councilman Sparks, I kind of had in my head a view of the author a little bit. I don't know why. I felt like it was more from his perspective than from Mara Beth's. So, I don't know. Did anybody else get that kind of a vibe? I don't know. Periwinkle. She was a trip. Yes, Periwinkle was. She was fun. Um, let's see what the next. Oh, so anyway, so Councilman Sparks, I think, he was definitely the prominent character in this. And I made the statement on our Goodreads group, and Melinda also answered, commented about it, because she said, well, I first said, oh, I hope that they're not going to be love interests somewhere down the line, because he would really have to become a lot more likable. And so Melinda said, well, I didn't think either of them were likable, so that's okay with me. In other words, I guess they're good for each other. But at this point in the book, Councilman Sparks is married. That could change. But I don't know. I felt like that the budding romance of her and, was it Brandon? That sort of started a little too late in the book, so that it kind of wasn't fleshed out, and no pun intended. It just, I don't know. It could have been a little more of that relationship. It was there, but we didn't really hear enough about it. So, I mean, maybe that's more realistic, because she was pretty busy and he was busy and they live in different towns. So, the relationship progressed about as far as it could, I guess. But I would have liked to have seen him introduced a little earlier and be a little more prevalent in the book itself. So that was just me. And then, of course, Mr. Linwood, he was a good character. And the other Stout Fella. What'd you think about Stout Fella? It was kind of funny, that he actually liked that name, because he felt like it kind of made him sound like a superhero. And then we didn't really talk about his wife, who was the radio personality, Becca Broccoli. And, I thought that was neat. It was kind of fun that they brought in a radio personality, because that gave them another, an avenue to publicize the book club, and just another aspect of the story. So I thought that was fun. Feel free to go ahead and comment about any of the male or female characters that you want to talk about, and I'm going to go ahead and just go through some of these questions. This is written as if we're sitting here in a live book club. It says, assign someone to argue for the Cherico Library's existence against someone else who supports the city council's point of view for its dissolution. Let the group decide who won the argument. So I think probably most all of us would agree that you don't want to get rid of a library. We're all bookish people. And I would imagine if I was sitting in a live book club, it would probably be, the same thing. But I think, she should have started 6 years ago trying to get the library built up, and not waited 6 years down the road for someone to start, taking the funding away before she decides that she needs to get busy. Which of the couples most resembles your relationship with your spouse or significant other? Becca and Stoutfellow, Miss Von Seal and Loch Linwood, Douglas and Connie. For me, I actually, and I didn't even know this question was here, but I think, was it Douglas and Connie, the ones where he was fishing and she was doing her thing? That's how I picture myself and my husband a little more like them, because even though we both work for the same company, we have to work on different days, and because one of us has to be home with Emily, we're not here at home a lot together. And, I have BookTube and all the things I like to do, and he loves to read too. But we often don't have much time to do things together. And he pretty much works, and he comes home and, does some stuff he's got to do outside. And he does sell some stuff on eBay. So on his days off, sometimes when I'm working, he sets up the table and sets up his camera and all that, and takes pictures and posts things on eBay and all that. So, and there was a conversation that Douglas and Connie had with each other about how, here they were, they had retired. Now, we're not retired yet, but she said, I feel like we're leading separate lives. And I understand that a little bit. So I think for me, Douglas and Connie. Now, if any of you guys want to comment and let me know in your own relationships how you feel. So let me catch up with comments here. And someone says, I thought you said you had to go. You're still here, Cheryl? I'm glad you're here. Oh, you're back. Okay, what did you miss? Well, I don't even remember. You'll have to go back and watch it after it's posted. I don't know. We've just been talking. I started asking the discussion questions in the back, discussing the female and male characters and, pros and cons of their personality. That was the question. I'm glad you love your local library. I do too. I love all libraries. I've always been a fan of libraries. That's my comfort zone. I could walk in a place that's surrounded with books and just take a deep breath and sit down. I don't even have to read anything. I just love looking at books. When I reorganize my shelves here, over here to the side is a desk with a chair, a fairly comfortable office chair. So when I was in the middle of sorting and I had kind of gotten my shelves sort of placed like I wanted to, I remember just sitting over there in the chair and just looking at it and just enjoying sitting here looking at it. So yeah, I love to surround myself with books. So Becca was a definite Scarlet. Okay, yeah. And I thought she was going to be obnoxious, but she turned out okay. Yeah, I agree with that, Colleen. I do. She turned out to be, she was, you know, because she comes to the first book club and you think, oh no, all she's going to do is try to promote her cookbook, but she didn't. And I'm hoping that, you know, we'll hear more about her cookbook. In fact, one of the books is called Queen of the Cookbooks. So I'm guessing that that's going to be more about Becca and her cookbook. Let's see. I'm going to order this book from my library right away. Oh, good. So now we're going to go ahead and start on the reading circle, but they're not long books. So Cheryl, if you get this one, then, you know, if you can, try to go ahead and get this one and the next one so that you can go ahead and read them both. That way, by this time next month, you will have read the second book and you'll be up to speed on things. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to order this again. Oh, I'm sorry about that. You know, at our library, we're pretty loud. In fact, our book club, our mystery book club, meets right in the middle of the library, and we don't even worry about it. We talk and laugh and have fun, and if people come by, you know, wonder what we're doing, we're like, hey, come join book club, you know, here's what we're reading next month, and hope to, you know, get people to come in. And myself and another lady in our book club have special needs children, and we bring them when we need to, and her son is an adult, and then there's even another lady she's part of our other book club, and she sometimes comes to mystery book club, and she has a special needs daughter who's an adult, and you know, she's had to bring her sometimes, so you know, we don't even worry about it. If people need to make noise or talk, then, you know, that's totally fine. But, you know, I understand, because sometimes my own daughter, you know, she doesn't understand. She'll just start talking when she wants to talk. And I, you know, have to try to shush her up when it's time. But, you know, what are you going to do? There's only so much you can do. But I'm sorry that people get mad at you. It's not like you can do anything about it. So I wish you could come to my library because nobody would care. Let's see. Robin loves reading. Hi, Robin. Good to have you. We're just chatting about the Cherry Cola Book Club. Have you read this book? Did you read it along with us, or did you just see that I was live now and you decided to come? I've never done a live show before, so we're just discussing this book. And eventually I'm going to just briefly mention the other books. I don't even know what time it is. Oh, it's already 12:03. It has been an hour. We better speed this up just a little bit. And then I haven't seen Emily in the last couple minutes, so I got to go make sure she's okay. Hang on just one second. Oh, no, she's fine. I left the door open into my bedroom, and she's sitting right there where I can see her. Okay. Does Cherico reflect some of the economic and cultural realities of your hometown? Actually, for me, it does. In my town where I live, it's probably about the size of Cherico, and we don't even have a library in this town. The library I talk about being my local library is in the next town over, which is about 5 or 6 miles from here. So there have been people who have tried to get a library started here, and they haven't had success. Our city council is kind of like this one. They just don't want to put the funds to it. And there are a couple of empty buildings in our town that would be perfect for a library, and they don't want to do it. And I personally don't have the time to be the spearheading person to see it done, but I would certainly, if we had one, I would volunteer, I would do whatever I could, but I don't have the time to do it. What I have done, though, is I proposed to our historical society to set up a little free library downtown, and they did that several years ago, and I'm the steward for that. So we do have a little free library in our town, and I was instrumental in getting that done. I didn't physically put it up. We have a metalworks factory that's here in town, and they put it up, and the historical society paid for it, and then I help supply the books that go in it. So that works, but I don't ever see this town here where I live having an actual library. And we have so many libraries in our county. I live in geographically the largest county in Florida, and there are a lot of towns here and a lot of libraries. So we're not hurting for libraries, and we have the bookmobile, which used to come downtown, but even it's like, the people in our town are so lame. They wouldn't come enough to the bookmobile for the bookmobile to stay. It came here twice a month for a little over a year, and then they ended up moving up the road to the tax office. It's several miles up the highway, and now they do get a lot more circulation. It's a lot more visible, and so they had to do that. So now I have to drive either to the next town over or up to the bookmobile every other week. But I'm always in the town where the library is, and I go to the library all the time. So I'd say 5 times a week I'm in the library. All right. So yeah, but in my own hometown, I don't know. Are any of you others? I'm forgetting to look at the comments. Sorry. Who's the author? The author is Ashton Lee. That is actually not his real name. That's a pseudonym. He friended me on Facebook, and so I do know his real name, but I don't know if he would want me to say that out loud. I'll find out, because he did tell me that he is writing a cozy mystery series under his actual name. So I won't give his real name right now. I actually can't even think what it is at this moment. But I am going to invite him to come and do a special live show after we've read 2 or 3 books, and I'll maybe get him on the phone or something. And if y'all want to, do a Q&A, we can do that. But I'm hoping that we will like the next couple of books a little bit better. I don't want him to come on here and I start, railing into him about things that we didn't like about this one. And when I went to BookNet Fest, I asked that question. I went to one of the panels I went to was on communicating with authors online. And at that point, I had already contacted him on his Facebook page, and I told him we were going to be doing this read along. And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome. Let me know if there's anything I can do." So I posed that question at the panel. I said, I've already been in touch with this author. Would it be appropriate to invite him to come to a book discussion? And I said, because maybe not everybody likes the book, so should we have the author there? And they said, do it separately. Do an author Q&A separate from your book discussion. That way you don't have those awkward moments. So anyway, we'll do that. And of course, this is going to be posted publicly. It's on live stream right now. He may be watching. I don't know. And if he is, then that's awesome. And I enjoyed the book, but like any book, there's little things here and there that I thought, well, why did he say it like that? That type of thing. Hello from Southeast Michigan, Bobby Davis. I had an uncle named Bobby Davis. It's good to see you. Good to have you, Bobby. Thank you. So Robin says she didn't see the video about it until the other day. Well, those of you who haven't read it yet, if you want to pick this up and read it, this book we've got some mixed feelings about, but the rest of the series looks to have much higher reviews. So if you guys want to catch up and go ahead and read Cherry Cola Book Club and then the Reading Circle, both of these are on Audible and I think on Scribd. Or I think Colleen maybe told me that all of them are on Scribd except the first one, and the first one is on Hoopla on audio. So if you want to grab the audio or just grab the book, it's only 200-something pages, 250-ish pages, 240. So it's not bad. So my phone has 15% left. I'm not going to be able to stay on here much longer. I'm filming on my phone. Let's go through a couple more questions and see who wants to say anything about any of these. All right. The character of Pamela Linwood, though deceased, plays an important role in the plot. How do each of you view that role? So Pamela Linwood wrote a letter before she died, basically foreseeing the future and telling her husband he needs to support the library and the librarian, and that he should, try to strike up a friendship, a closer friendship with Miss Von Seal. So, did you think it was plausible? Did you think she could really see that need in the future with the library? I mean, maybe, I guess, especially if she had been in the genealogy club, and especially if Mara really had no ideas and was not doing anything to keep the library, to improve the library. She could probably foresee that coming. So. Oh, so Colleen says maybe we can pick a cozy during March Mystery Madness and do a live show. Yeah, that'd be great. We're still going to be reading this, right? Or no, will we be done with this? I guess we'll be done with this series in February. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We can do that. And then we'll start that. I'm still going to be going. I've got some other things that are going to be going along, and I've got a couple of ideas for some things too. So, well, does anybody want to say anything else about this book? Here's just some, let me just read through some of these questions, and you could comment if you want to comment to any of these questions. What has your local library meant to you? I know someone already said, they love their local library. Over the long haul, do you think Marbeth Mayhew is fighting a losing battle? So in the end, if you don't recall, for those who haven't read it, in the end, they decide to leave the library open, but on a trial basis. And the councilman says, I'm still going to be watching, you're not out of the woods yet. So what do you think? What is your prediction for the future? Do you think taxpayers in general have a realistic view of what it takes to keep a library up and running? I don't think they do. I don't know if I do. I think there's a lot to getting a library up and running, and it's basically money spent. A library doesn't make money. They get a little bit back in fines and things like that, but think about what the library has to spend to pay the staff and to buy books and to buy computers, upkeep of computers, and to keep the lights on and all that. That's really, it is probably a lot of money. Let's see. Do you think library services should fall into the same category for funding as firefighting, police protection, streets, water, and utilities? I mean, yes and no. They're still city run, but, I kind of get it. It's sort of the difference between academics and electives. The electives are very important, but the academics you got to have. So, that's kind of my take on it. Did you ever make the sort of wish or bucket list that Marbeth Mayhew made on page 25 of her journal? Which was 3 things to accomplish before I'm 30. I know in the bookish world, people do that. They have a list of books they want to read by the time they get to certain milestone ages. Laura from Mom Triplets 04 is doing her 50 by 50 list. She's got a list of 50 books that she's trying to read before she turns 50. And I think Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand was doing a list of books to read before she turned 30, which I think is like this month. And, I've heard people do stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think I've ever done that. I've made goal lists, but I don't think I've ever done specifically things like that. Now, I did do a video on my channel that I called something like 50 and 50 or something like that, because the year that I was 50, I kept encountering all these other things that had to do with 50, all these other things that were having 50th anniversaries. I sort of like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was 50, the same year I was. SeaWorld was 50, the same year I was. And other celebrities, like Melissa Gilbert is the same age as me. Rob Lowe, I think, is maybe a couple of months, a little bit older, but we're very similar in age. So, there was all those kind of things that I thought about, but I didn't really have a goal. I lost 50 pounds when I was, maybe 45. I think I was trying to lose 50. I put it all back on, but I did lose almost 50 pounds that year. All right. Pretend you are a female member of the Cherry Cola Book Club. Do you fall into the Scarlet or Melanie category as a modern woman? All right. We've already talked about that. Pretend you are a member, either gender, of the Cherry Cola Book Club. What role do you think To Kill a Mockingbird played in the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, if any? So we didn't really get around to Kill a Mockingbird, and we didn't talk about it much. I really enjoyed the book club scene about To Kill a Mockingbird. I enjoyed the content of that, the man who was the baker, his take on it, and his mother, and I enjoyed them telling about their experiences about being black in the South during that time, and I thought that was very well written, very well done. I liked that. So I enjoyed that. As far as the actual book and what role it played, I don't know. I haven't really studied that out, but, it might have helped just the general population to kind of have a better understanding, a better view of those issues. There will be a sequel, well, yeah, we know, to the Cherry Cola Book Club. What do you hope will happen in that book? So what do you hope will happen in the reading circle? Well, I hope that Mara will have some of her own ideas, and I hope I hope that Constable Sparks will not get divorced from his wife and try to date Mara. I hope that doesn't happen. I would like to see more of her relationship with Brandon. Is that it? I think, not to make it a romance book, but you know, if it's going to be there, I think he needs to be a more prominent character. There's a cat on the cover. Did she have a cat? I can't even think if I remember that. Does she have a cat in this book? I can't remember. And I love cats. I can't believe that I am not even thinking. I can't even think. And what is your favorite sequence in the Cherry Cola Book Club? I guess what I already mentioned, the book club, the big book club that have finally happened. Of course, when I say that, you know, they had the first meeting, which was to discuss To Kill a Mockingbird, got cut short because Stoutfella had to be rushed to the hospital. So then when they finally had the big one, then you know, I think that was probably my favorite sequence. I thought the food got a little repetitive. You know, she made that same cherry cola cake for all the meetings, and I could see why she did, because, you know, the first meeting, there was just a few people there, but the people who had been there really liked it. It did say back by popular demand. I hope that in the next book, there's some different food, and that we don't have to keep, you know, having the same food. I'm looking to see if there's recipes. Yes, there is some recipes. So... ooh, those look good. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You'll have to look. You have to get your own copy. Has anybody had tomato aspic? I have heard of it, and I know it's like a cold, gelled tomato thing, which sounds really gross. But after reading about it, I kind of want to try it. And there's a recipe for it in here. I think it's got cream cheese in it, or sour cream. I don't know. And I kind of want to make the cherry cola sheet cake too. I don't know. But this periwinkle Latimore's tomato aspic with cream cheese. I kind of want to make it. I kind of want to try it. I might do that. Maybe I can make it and have it in the fridge ready for next live show, and I'll show it to you in a video. I wish I could, you know, sample it out to you. So anyway, so that is about it for this. Let me see if any of you have said anything. Oh, okay, wait. I got to go back. So some of you are commenting. Hello from Southeast Michigan. Oh, I think I read that already. Bobby's. Yes, thank you so much for stopping by. Maybe I read that about picking a cozy. All right, we'll talk about that, Colleen. You love watching author interviews. Oh, you're an aspiring author. Oh, awesome. Great to hear from. Yes, he seems like a nice guy. So, not plausible. Prophesying a relationship between the two. That's a man writing. So wait, you think... to the relationship of Councilman Sparks and Marabeth is not plausible, or Brandon, the one that's kind of budding relationship? Which relationship? Prophesying a relationship. So you think that it is prophesying a relationship between the two, Councilman Sparks, I think is what you're saying. Yeah. And I didn't even think about that the first time I read this. And then this time when I read it in print, I picked up on all the little flirtations that he did with her, kept talking about her hair, you know, then he tried to hire her into his office and all that. I'm so glad she didn't take that job. And I thought, and then all of a sudden it started hitting me. I was like, oh no, please, no, I don't want them to have a relationship. He would have to be a lot more likable. It seems like libraries are like other things that are taking a backseat because of online stuff now. Yeah, and I get that. But there's still something about walking in a library, you know, and seeing the books. Even libraries, there's Emily again. Hi. Even libraries, you know, of course they provide computers and things like that. So, you know, they even understand. But I did a program at our library for, basically, I did a kind of a test program for book club, and they want me to do it for a bigger group, a bigger scale, but it's called Book Tech. And all these ladies came who have no idea. Okay, she's kind of working up to a seizure. Why don't you sit down in the chair? Can you sit down? Here, you sit down. If she has a seizure, I'll have to go. But what I did basically was talk about, oh, my phone is dying, I'm gonna have to go. I talked about all the different online resources for books and how you could check out books online and all that kind of stuff. My phone is about to die. I wanted to talk about all the other read-alongs we're doing. After I charge my phone a little bit, I might do a video. Basically, if any of you have read, I tell you what, if any of you are participating in any of the other read-alongs that I introduced this month, just comment some more to the Goodreads group. Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. I think I only have one buddy that's reading this one with me, the Harmony series by Jodie Thomas, and maybe only 1 or 2 people who are reading the Home to Heather Creek series with me. So just be sure that you comment to the Goodreads group and also make a comment on this video so that I will know. And if you want me to do another live show where we can talk about some of these others, since my phone is about to die and we didn't get to it, I have decided to postpone Cape Light. I am still finishing this first book, which is Cape Light by Thomas Kincaid, but I'm going to give any of you who want to go ahead and join in on this one, I'm giving you till the end of the year to read Cape Light, and then I'm going to read the second one over the next 3 months, January, February, March, and then the next one over the next 3 months, the next one over the next 3 months, so that by the time we get to the 5th book, which starts the whole Christmas theme, the rest of the series is all Christmas, then we'll read maybe 3 or 4 Christmas books, 2 or 3, 3 or 4, I don't know, each Christmas season. So I decided to go ahead and stretch this one out a little bit longer, and I talked about that in another video. So before my phone actually dies, I will go ahead and sign off, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you so much for coming. Let's see, what is it? Very sincere. Yes, To Kill a Mockingbird discussion was very, very sincere. I enjoyed that a lot. Paul's letter. Oh, the letter. Yes, yes. Thanks so much for coming. I hope you can, if you can still see me, it kind of went dark because my phone is dying. And I'm sorry about that. I meant to have it charged up to 100%, and with everything I had going on this morning, I didn't get a chance to do it. And then it was time to come on, and I had just had to go with it. So, so that's all, I guess, for this discussion. We will plan on doing the first Saturday of every month and talk about the books we read, you know, the book or books that we read the previous month. And so if any of you are interested in joining in any of these other read-alongs, there goes my phone again, I hope you will. So that is my sister. Let me see what she's got to say. Hello, I'm just about to sign off. Yeah, my phone's about to die, so I'm going to sign off. So, all right, I'll call you back. Okay. All right, so anyway, that's it for this video. If any of you want to join in on any of these other read-alongs, I hope you will. The Home to Heather Creek series, each book is very short. The Jody Thomas Harmony series is all on Audible, on the romance package. So for $6 a month, you could get those. And Redeeming Love, we are done with the first half, and we're going to be continuing on. So next month, I might do a separate live show just for Redeeming Love. Also, I am reading The Apple Orchard by Susan Wiggs with Sarah from Not Just Romance Novels, and we're going to do a live show of it. We may do it on her channel, and then I'll try to figure out how to link in to her video from there. So I don't know. I barely know how to do this. So we'll see if I can figure out how to do the other. Maybe if she knows it, we'll do it on my channel and she can link in so that you can see both of our faces. So anyway, I've been saying I'm going to go and I'm rambling. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was fun. And if you want to comment anymore, then this will be posted on my channel and you can make some other comments down below. And be sure to go to the Goodreads group and chat about all of the books that we're reading there. So that's all for this video. Live from Florida. It's Saturday morning. Actually, it's Saturday afternoon now. So thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Have a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.